She wasn't born to be queen, she was born in a private house at the time of the general strike in 1926. And yet by her 20s, she was the most famous woman in the world. Now she's head of state for 125 million people and head of the Commonwealth, which covers more than a third of the planet's population.
She's a guardian of the Commonwealth.
She's a very strong woman, and that's seen her through an awful lot.
She's taken the monarchy to a place where, no matter what happens in the future, I personally think the monarchy will be very secure.
In this second programme, we continue to follow the Queen in her 80th year, looking at her role in the modern age, her history, and the woman behind the symbol. And, for the first time, historic and private footage, never before broadcast. The Queen. She reigneth every day. She reigns, but she doesn't rule.
I can give you my heart and my devotion to these old islands and to all the peoples of our brotherhood of nations.
Buckingham Palace is the bureaucratic heart of the working monarchy, head office, and one of the most easily recognised buildings in the world. It's seen a lot. Crowds have gathered here in peace and war. Here, the Queen once woke up to find an intruder in her bedroom. It's been visited by all sorts, from German bombers to modern celebrities. Some of them more welcome than others. But of the frequent visitors, the most important are the Prime Ministers. 10 of them in Britain so far. The first was Winston Churchill, who was in his old age utterly besotted by the young Queen. Later, of course, there would be Margaret Thatcher, Britain's first female Prime Minister. There's always rumours about which of the premiers she's liked best, mainly spread by their political toadies, because she keeps her counsel. Today, she has her weekly audience with a man born in the year she was crowned. This is a unique glimpse of a normally totally confidential meeting. Uppermost on the Prime Minister's mind are talks with Eastern European countries which haven't been going smoothly.
Prime Minister, Your Majesty.
Evening,
It's another very busy day.
Yes, it has been, because we're preparing for the European Council.
Of course, that's Thursday, isn't it?
Yes, Thursday, Friday, and anything after that is an added bonus, ma'am. So.
Well, I suppose it is, yes.
We always used to say that going to see the Queen was a bit like a weekly visit to a counsellor or a psychiatrist, that it was the one occasion when a Prime Minister could talk to someone knowing absolutely that the content of the conversation wasn't going to be disclosed.
You know that not only now, but in future, no one is going to write memoirs with a version of what was said. So you can be utterly, totally frank, even indiscreet with the Queen.
You know, when you're in a position where there's a lot of pressure and a lot of responsibility on you, that's a tremendous bonus.
And how did all your meetings go last week when you saw all these people just after Friday?
They were quite good, actually. I mean, I think they want to do a deal if they possibly can. The question is whether we can get everyone through it at the end of this week, really. But it's, for the new countries particularly, they want one. And that's the best chance we've got of getting one.
You can imagine. Well, we had an interesting time in Northern Ireland, which was very nice.
You meet the Queen privately, you're seated in armchairs, you talk, corgis are scattered around, and the Prime Minister talks to the Queen about what is going on, what has happened, what is happening, what he would wish to happen. He'd talk about personalities, he'd talk about personal things, he'd talk about problems. Nothing is barred. Everything is open season.
It all went well.
Yes. We even got in the middle of Belfast. We went to the Belfast Central Mission, which is like, you know, this is a sort of open house. But it's absolutely opposite the Europa Hotel, which I think was bombed more from than any other building in Ireland. So it was rather fascinating to see it.
She will assess situations and difficulties and can describe them, but without ever, and I have to say this is the remarkable thing in all the years now I've been doing these audiences, without ever giving any clue as to sort of political preference or anything like that. I mean, it's absolutely, it's quite remarkable to see, in fact.
Oh, she never hesitated to make her views known and listened very patiently to any which I expressed.
I think her quality is being able to get underneath what is happening as well. I mean, it's not just a question of knowing the facts on this and this and this. I mean, it's also being able to sense, as I say, the small p politics of something.
Okay, Jeff. I'll see you next week. Oh, next week? Next week? Yeah, okay.
As well as the British Prime Ministers, the Queen's lived through 11 Canadian Prime Ministers, 10 Australian ones, 11 Presidents of the United States. The 8th of those US Presidents made a state visit to the UK in 1982. But what would they find to talk about? Easy.
They would talk horses all the time. You never had to worry about what they were going to talk about. That then led into Ronnie asking her to come to us at the ranch and ride at the ranch, which we made plans for. Sadly, it wasn't the kind of trip that we thought it would be. The day came and the heavens opened. I've never seen such rain. It poured, and we felt terrible. I mean, really terrible. And they had worked their way up the mountainside, and Ronnie immediately was saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And she said, "Oh, don't be silly. This is an adventure." Nothing in that trip ever worked out the way it was supposed to work out. We were going to get on the boat with them and go to San Francisco, and they were going to open the bridges for us. It was going to be quite festive. Well, none of that happened at all.
It rained, of course, as the Queen arrived by plane, or was it an aquaplane of the presidential flight?
We got to San Francisco, and Queen and Philip stayed in a room in a hotel. I don't think she'd ever stayed in a hotel before. And there was great consternation about it, and we wanted everything to be right, just to be sure that we threw everything in. We threw in a little earthquake, too, at the same time. I mean, by that time, you didn't think of her as the Queen, nor did she think of Ronnie as the president, I'm sure. They were just people that we liked.
Today's monarchy likes to present itself as civilian, almost homely. But this is a military family, and particularly tied to the sea. It is the Queen's Navy in more ways than one. Her father fought at Jutland in the First World War. She's grown up surrounded by gold braid and peaked caps. Her husband, sons, and youngest grandsons all served or serve in the forces. During her reign, the Royal Navy, once the terror of the oceans, has shrunk dramatically. But the 200th anniversary of Trafalgar gives it a chance to take centre stage. An international fleet review of a kind that hasn't happened for 30 years. Prince Philip is the country's most senior naval officer, though inevitably the Queen outranks him. She's Lord High Admiral.
HMS Invincible, ship's company. Stand by to cheer ship.
Whenever a serviceman, and particularly naval personnel, turn out in front of their sovereign, it's a big day. There's nothing that'll put the shine on a sailor's shoes like thinking he's going to be seen by the Queen.
Ship's company. Off! Caps! Waiters, for Her Majesty the Queen! Attack! Hooray! Attack! Hooray! Attack! Hooray!
Huge reception this evening, 450 people coming on board by boat. We've got the Prime Minister coming. The main attraction is going to be the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh, who will be hosting it.
Right, listen everyone, I don't need you to answer to your names. Well, the bars tonight are I/C at bar 1.
We've briefed to the boys and girls on the ship, and I'm sure they have on all the ships too, that this will be the biggest event they'll ever take part in. And for us, it's probably the biggest function we'll ever do.
Mike, can you check around the tables, make sure all the layups are there and they're all correct?
We received an email from the palace, so a lot of the ideas have actually come from them, what the Queen actually likes and the Duke of Edinburgh. So we're led to believe that the ginger cake is his favourite dish, so I've made him a special one.
Ships from around the world are here, rival navies eyeing each other up with professional suspicion, and the reception gathers together the brass hats of 36 of the world's naval forces. It's International Celebrity Sailor Night. But there's no doubting who the main attraction is.
Any time you're ever with her at any function, it doesn't matter who else is there, she is the star. They want some of that, they like that. If she's there, that's the person people want to be with. They want to be photographed with her. They want to make sure that they get the opportunity for a few words so that they can say, well, I've spoken to the Queen.
It was the most spectacular event. It was superb, and we moved something in the region of 6,000 people, just over that, by boat, which is more than when we invaded the Falklands. So it was quite a large-scale operation. Her Majesty, again, she showed her usual stamina. I mean, it is a very long day. It was an early start, out in a ship, up and down ladders, up in the fresh air. Then she had to jump into helicopters, bounce across to Invincible. There she met all these other heads of navy, a lot of the ambassadors. She was just absolutely wonderful in the way she always is.
And after all, the Royal Navy brought the Queen and Prince Philip together for the first time. They met, she as a princess, he a prince, just a few weeks before the outbreak of the Second World War at Dartmouth Royal Naval College.
The first ceremony is a parade and inspection, His Majesty walking down the ranks of the cadets and afterwards taking the salute as the young officers-to-be march past.
She was just 13. Standing in the background, he was a teenage refugee from a shattered and exiled Greek royal family, finding a new life as a British naval cadet.
The first time that the media caught on to it or decided to make anything of it, as it happened, was at my wedding in October 1946.
Meanwhile, at the entrance to the Abbey, Prince Philip of Greece waits to escort the royal family from their car.
And there's a famous photograph, which is often published, of him taking her fur coat at the door of Romsey Abbey and sort of looking at each other. And I think that started a real interest, because by then, of course, she was much older. So I think people thought, aha, at that point.
The royal family and Princess Elizabeth's fiancé have permitted these special film studies to be made in response to the rapidly mounting worldwide interest in the forthcoming royal wedding on the 20th of November in Westminster Abbey.
I remember the first time we ever saw Prince Philip. We thought, oh, what a nosh. Oh, isn't he gorgeous? These lovely blonde locks. And we thought, what a gorgeous couple that the Queen and Prince Philip made.
In the evening, Londoners who had been waiting outside the palace for hours made their feelings perfectly clear when the princess and her fiancé came out onto the balcony. Day of the wedding and immense crowds. Thousands had assembled overnight, others had arrived at dawn, all eagerly waiting to see and to cheer the royal processions.
The wedding was a fantastic occasion. If you think of a family wedding and multiply it hundreds of times, it was that sort of atmosphere that really spread through the country.
Well, it was a day off school. and relations of mine were involved, obviously, and bridesmaids and things like that, and the excitement of the whole thing.
A sweep stands by just before the bridegroom enters his car.